Is boredom a useless emotion? The secret purpose it holds for our creativity and survival. Hello, restless minds. How are you doing? Today we're going to talk about a feeling we all know, and let's be honest, we all hate boredom. That dull, gray feeling of having nothing to do. But what if I told you that you've been looking at boredom the wrong way your entire life? That it's not a flaw, but a secret tool? Today we're going on a journey together, a descent through 5 levels of knowledge about boredom. And I promise you one thing, by the time we finish, your view of this feeling will have completely transformed. Buckle up. Let's start with level 1, the surface everyone knows. What is boredom? Well, it's that, right? It's the feeling of being trapped in an eternal Sunday afternoon. You've watched all the series, you've exhausted your scroll on all social media, and your brain feels like a car in neutral, engine on, but going nowhere. It's a noisy void, a restlessness that eats you from the inside. And what's our almost automatic reaction when that monster appears? Boom. We pull out our phone. Boredom is that invisible force that makes us open and close the same app 10 times in 5 minutes, desperately looking for something new, a stimulus, anything. It's the archenemy of stillness in our modern world. But where does this annoying feeling come from? Let's think for a moment about our ancestors on the savannah. For them, sitting around doing nothing wasn't just boring, it was dangerous. If you weren't looking for food or watching out for predators, your chances of survival plummeted. So boredom could be a kind of evolutionary alarm, a nudge in our brain's ribs that yells, "Hey, wake up! Do something useful or you'll become someone's lunch." In essence, boredom is a signal. It's your brain saying, hey, what we're doing right now isn't giving me anything. It's not interesting, it's not challenging, it's not useful. It's an internal notification of dissatisfaction. But have you ever stopped to think why our brain is so incredibly demanding? Why does it need to be entertained all the time? Okay, so this is level 1. Boredom is an uncomfortable, primitive warning signal that pushes us to look for something to do. Easy, right? This is what everyone knows. It's just the tip of the iceberg. But if this is what we see on the surface, what secret engines are moving it underneath? It's time to dive in. Level 2, the hidden mechanisms. Welcome. Remember that feeling of a noisy void we talked about? Well, it has a name. When you think you're doing nothing, your brain activates something called the default mode network. Think of it like your computer's screensaver. But instead of showing bubbles, your mind starts to wander on its own. It thinks about the future, remembers the past, obsesses over your problems. Boredom is the discomfort you feel when that network turns on and can't find anything interesting to latch onto. And this mental wandering is governed by an invisible rule. Your brain always seeks the perfect amount of stimulation. It's like Goldilocks with the soup. It doesn't want it too cold, too easy, or too hot, too difficult. It wants it just right. Boredom is the sign that the soup is cold, that the task you're doing is too simple for your capabilities. Your mental engine is idling, and what it wants is to step on the accelerator. And here comes one of our brain's most curious factory errors, the novelty bias. Our brain is programmed to give us a little dopamine hit, the pleasure molecule, every time we experience something new. It's why a notification from a stranger seems more exciting than a message from a friend. Boredom, in this sense, is like a novelty withdrawal syndrome. Your brain desperately seeks its next hit of something new. Now let's take a little trip back in time. Did you know that before the Industrial Revolution, the concept of being bored as we know it barely existed? Your daily life was marked by the sun, the seasons, work in the field. But suddenly factories arrived, fixed schedules, repetitive tasks, and for the first time in history, large amounts of free time. We artificially created the perfect conditions for modern boredom, empty time that we felt obliged to fill. So what fundamental human need does this unpleasant feeling solve? It solves our need for purpose and growth. Boredom is a catalyst, a push. It's that inner voice that, in moments of calm, whispers in your ear, "Is this all there is? Do you really want to spend your life doing this?" It forces you to seek new goals, to learn new things, to find meaning beyond routine. And here comes the last mechanism of this level, the one that changes everything. Remember that neural network that activates when we're bored, the one that makes us wander? Well, it turns out that this mental state, the one we try to avoid at all costs, is the perfect breeding ground for creativity. And when your mind wanders, it starts to connect ideas that had nothing to do with each other. It is in that empty space where the most original solutions to your problems are born. Boredom is not the enemy of ideas, it is the antechamber. And with that, we close level 2. Now we see that boredom is not just an empty void. It's a brain dance, a search for novelty, a product of our history, and surprisingly, a creative engine. Understanding these hidden gears gives us the power to start using this feeling instead of simply fleeing from it. But if you thought we had everything clear, get ready, because this is where the story turns into real chaos. Level 3, the chaos of reality, debates, and complexities. Welcome to the chaos. The first big fight among experts is this: is there only one type of boredom? One side says no. They argue there's apathetic boredom, that nothing matters feeling, which is truly destructive, and seeking boredom, that restlessness that pushes you to learn guitar or start a new project. The other side says that's overcomplicating it, that boredom is a single signal and what matters is how you respond to it. Now let me tell you a secret, something just for you to know. Do you know that romantic myth of the tortured artist? The idea that genius is born only from the deepest boredom? It's largely a lie. We love to believe it because it justifies our own laziness, turning it into something noble, as if we were waiting for inspiration. The truth is that, while boredom can ignite creativity, forcing yourself to be bored on purpose usually ends only in frustration. The magic often happens by accident. And here's a paradox that will blow your mind. We live in the era with the most stimuli in human history. We have infinite entertainment in our pockets. In theory, boredom should have become extinct. And yet people report feeling more bored than ever. Why? Because constant stimulation is like a drug. It raises our tolerance threshold. We need increasingly stronger and newer doses to feel something. Our supposed cure for boredom is, in reality, aggravating the disease. And now let's get a little critical. We take it for granted that social media and apps are there to save us from boredom. But is this ethical? We've built an entire attention economy that relies on exploiting our natural aversion to boredom. There are multi-million-dollar companies whose business model is to hijack that brain survival mechanism we talked about earlier. Are we really comfortable with our lives being designed to eliminate a mental state that could be crucial for our well-being? Furthermore, our view of boredom has changed over time. Centuries ago, in very religious societies, being bored was considered a moral failing. It was a sign of a lazy, ungrateful, or even sinful soul. Today we see it as a psychological state, a matter of brain chemistry. We've shifted the blame from our soul to our brain, but have we lost something in the process? Perhaps the personal responsibility to seek and create our own meaning? Ultimately, all of this connects to a fundamental problem of the human condition, the panic of facing ourselves. Because when you're truly bored, without distractions, without your phone, without anything, who are you left with? Just yourself, with your thoughts, your fears, your desires. Our frantic flight from boredom is, in many ways, a flight from our own company. And that's level 3. A real mess, isn't it? There are open debates, myths we love to believe, paradoxes without easy solutions, ethical dilemmas, and an underlying existential fear. The reality of boredom is messy, complex, and full of difficult questions without a single right answer. Very good. You've survived the chaos. Now it's time to see the details that separate the curious from the true connoisseurs. Level 4, expert knowledge, niche secrets. Okay, we're entering the deep zone. You won't find this on Google in 5 minutes. Researchers have discovered that different boredom personalities exist. Some people are much more prone to boredom. It's not a character flaw, it's that their brain, due to its neurobiology, needs a much higher level of stimuli than average. They tend to be more impulsive and willing to take risks. Now, a technical detail, but I promise the analogy is cool. Deep in your brain, there's a small structure called the locus coeruleus. Imagine it's your brain's curiosity clutch. When you're focused on something, the clutch is engaged and the gear is in. But when you get bored, this area starts to function erratically. It's like it suddenly pushes the clutch, disconnecting you from the boring task and yelling at your conscious brain, "Hey you, find another road, this one's a drag." I want to tell you about a secret hero of boredom, the poet Joseph Brodsky. He was exiled by the Soviet Union to a frozen remote village. Faced with a soul-crushing monotony, he wrote an essay called In Defense of Boredom. In it, he said that boredom is looking into time in its pure state, and embracing it is an act of spiritual resistance. He turned his prison into a mental laboratory, using boredom not as an enemy, but as raw material for art. And here's a rebel theory that fascinates me. Some psychologists propose that boredom is actually a mild and chronic form of grief. So, grief for what? Grief for a more ideal, more exciting, or more meaningful life that you're not living at that precise moment. When you're bored at the office, deep down you're grieving for the adventure you could be having. This changes everything. Boredom is not an emptiness. It's a nostalgia for a better life. Prepare for a laboratory fact that goes against all common sense. Research shows that being constantly busy with superficial, meaningless tasks can make you feel more profoundly bored than doing absolutely nothing. I know, it's super weird. We think being busy is the antidote, but if the tasks don't fulfill us, they only act as a distraction that further highlights the lack of purpose, leading us to a much deeper existential boredom. And now the aha moment. Let's connect the pieces. Remember we said boredom activates the default mode network, the brain's mind-wandering mode? And remember the paradox that our hyperstimulated world makes us feel more bored? Here's the connection. The constant easy stimulation from our phones prevents our default mode network from doing its deep creative work. We are starving the very part of the brain that boredom tries to awaken. That is the trap of modern boredom. And with this, we close level 4. And believe me, knowing these details isn't to show off curious facts. It's to have a much deeper and more compassionate view of the world and of yourself. It's to truly understand what's going on inside you when you feel that restlessness. We have reached the limit of what is known. Do you dare to look beyond towards the final frontier? Level 5, the final frontier, speculation and awe. Welcome to the future. What will boredom be like in 100 years? Imagine brain implants or a personal artificial intelligence that gives us the perfect dose of stimulus at every moment, eliminating boredom forever. Would it be a utopia? Or would we become a kind of passive pets, incapable of generating an idea or motivation on our own? Could we, in our attempt to erase human creativity as well? And this brings us to the deepest question that neither science nor philosophy can answer today. Is boredom an exclusively human feeling? Does a caged lion feel boredom, or just the frustration of its instincts? Could an advanced AI come to feel boredom? The answer depends on the greatest mystery of all, consciousness. What is that internal sensation, and can it exist without a self to experience it? Now for the mind-blowing philosophical moment. Thinkers like Kierkegaard said that boredom is the ultimate test of human freedom. Think about it, an animal acts by instinct, a computer by its programming. But a human being can look at all possible options and conclude, meh. That ability to feel indifference to infinite possibilities is, paradoxically, the highest expression of our free will. The freedom not to be satisfied, the freedom to desire something that does not yet exist. And how could boredom define the future of humanity? Think about trips to Mars or other stars. They will be years of confinement, of monotony. The greatest obstacle will not be technology, but the psychological challenge of deep, inescapable boredom. The astronauts who succeed will not be those who never get bored, but those who have learned to use it as a tool for reflection, creativity, resilience. Conquering boredom could be the key to conquering the cosmos. And here's the last idea, the most provocative. What if boredom isn't a system failure, but the engine of the universe's evolution? In an empty universe, what is there but a kind of cosmic boredom? Perhaps that pressure is what pushes matter to become life, life to become intelligence, and intelligence to create art and science so as not to be bored. Perhaps boredom is simply the universe trying to entertain itself. And with that, our 5-level journey has ended. We have gone from a simple Sunday afternoon to the confines of the cosmos. It's time to return to the surface and contemplate the entire panorama we have discovered. Think for a second where we started this journey. We talked about boredom as that annoying, empty feeling we cure with our phone, a simple problem. And look where we've arrived. Now we see that it's a neurological dance, a creative catalyst, a paradox of modern life, the key to our past and future, and perhaps an echo of the universe itself. The transformation is brutal. We've gone from seeing a useless emotion to discovering a fundamental human superpower. And now it's your turn. Of this whole journey of these 5 levels, what was the idea that impacted you the most? The one that made you click? I truly want to know. Leave your reflection in the comments. I love reading them. Millions of thanks for dedicating your time and curiosity to me. And if you like these mind-expanding journeys, be sure to subscribe, because we have many more hidden worlds to explore together. Until next time.